Let's talk about using conditional statements, the second way you can control a program other than putting statements in sequential order. A conditional statement makes a decision based on a condition or a situation that is either true or false. For example, you might be driving down the road on your way to a friend's house, and you glance down every once in a while at the gas gauge so that you don't run out of gas. If it shows you still have enough gas, you just keep driving. However, when it is empty or pretty close to empty, you pull over to the nearest gas station and fill her up. This is an example of a one-way conditional. You check to see if something is true, and if it is, you do something. Otherwise, you just keep going. The pseudocode for this situation is pretty simple. The conditional statement is on lines 4 and 5. The condition is listed in parentheses, preceded by the word if. The resulting action is on the next line, slightly indented. The key to the decision is the state of the gas gauge. Does the gauge show empty or near empty? If so, you stop and fill up. If not, you keep going. Again, a one-way situation. Let's consider a two-way situation. The basic structure starts the same way, but has an else with a second action listed after it. For example, on your trip to Dallas from Houston, at the fork in the road, you will have to decide between going left to Fort Worth or right to Dallas. When you see the sign, you choose the right lane since you want to go to Dallas. Here is the pseudocode for this. The two-way statement spans lines 4 through 7, with the if part showing the desired condition and the appropriate action listed after it, with lines 6 and 7 showing the alternative. Most of the time, the condition is based on a comparison of two values or variables, using the 6 relational operators you see here, which we discussed in an earlier lesson. Here are several examples. Stop the video and study these for a moment, making sure you understand how each one works. Here is another example of a one-way if statement. If the input age is too young, there is no message. If it is old enough, the message is can drive. This is the two-way version of this, with a message for both situations. Age 15, cannot drive. Age 16, can drive. Age 23, can drive. Here is a classic example of a conditional using a modulus calculation to see if a number is odd or even. If the remainder when dividing by 2 is 0, the number is even. Otherwise, the number is odd. Another classic example is when calculating someone's pay. If the total hours is 40 or less, the calculation is pretty straightforward. Otherwise, you have to pay overtime. Stop the video and see if you could do the math for the last input value of 50. If you got $550, you were correct. These two types of conditional statements are used over and over again in a program. Learn how they work and be able to interpret code that contains them.